my name is Annalisa, and today I'm going to be making some more bookmarks. If you've seen my previous bookmarks video, you'll know that I recorded this segment at about the same time I did that one, but it was all too long to make into one video, so I decided to separate it out. And so today I'm going to be making a bookmark with some roses on it. I was kind of inspired for this one by A Court of Thorns and Roses, which if you've watched my February wrap-up video, you will know that I didn't actually like that much. But I did very much like the world and the series as a whole, and I also very much liked the aesthetic of the roses, the red with the black. I like that very much. So it kind of inspired me to make this bookmark. So another reason that I decided to make a bookmark themed around roses was that I have been drawing roses for a really long time. It's something that comes pretty easily to me because I've always been interested in drawing roses, flowers in general, but roses in particular. I just really like all the petals and how vibrant the colors tend to be, and so I've been practicing drawing them for a really long time. I also really like that they're a flower that's very easy to draw and have it just be line art. So I would draw them a lot of times in my notebooks, either my school notebooks or my fiction writing notebooks, and just when I was distracted or horrendously bored and couldn't possibly get my mind to concentrate on writing anything or doing math. So there are roses and other flowers scattered throughout a lot of my notebooks. And so they now come very easily to me. I took some time over the years when I was a kid growing up, learning and actually applying myself to figuring out how to draw roses. So nowadays, it just comes very easily to me, which is why, unlike a lot of the things I draw, like the people I've drawn and the books I was drawing in my last video, I can usually sketch them out just with one go. As you saw me doing, I would just put a line there, and that was where I wanted the line to stay. It wasn't a sketch most of the time, although I did have a bit of a harder time with this rosebud, as usually I draw them from a above sort of angle, so I was stretching myself a bit with the bud, but otherwise I usually just draw them really freehand. But I did want to do them in pencil before I did in pen, just in case, since this was on my watercolor paper and I wanted to not make mistakes. So basically when I draw roses, if you want to know how I do it, I usually just start with a little circle in the middle and sort of do swoops around that, I guess I would describe it. Like, I used to just do curved, very, very simple, very repetitive petals coming out from the center. Now I do more squarish looking ones and add a bit of ruffling, because that seems to be more like how I've looked at photos of roses appearing. And you'll see on this one, I actually did two slightly different styles for both of my above perspective roses. One on the bottom was more what I usually do, which is very rounded edges and stuff like that, whereas for the top one, I did what I've seen done in a lot of drawings that I like, which is having them be more pointed. So that's what I did. If you want to draw roses, you can do whatever you like, but I enjoyed very much trying the different way from what I've done, trying out the pointed edges. But it's a little bit more of a style sort of a thing than what I'm used to with the rounded edges, which is more inspired from photos rather than from drawings. When I was drawing the rosebud, I think I used a photo for that. I probably used both photos and drawings as reference for that because I was struggling to decide how I wanted to depict that. And so I ended up doing mostly the inner parts, very symmetrical and formulaic, and then I really like rosebuds depicted as having one petal sort of dripping off, so I kind of did that with one of mine. And so then for the colors, I wanted a really, really vibrant red, and I have had a bit of trouble with vibrancy when I mix them, so I just went straight from the palette. I really like a lot of the colors on this palette. The red is especially nice, and it comes off really strong on this one, so that's very nice. So it worked out very well for these roses, and so I was very happy with that. And I wasn't sure if it would make a difference, but I did decide to fill in the petals each one by one, carefully staying in the lines, even though I was using the same color for every petal, so it shouldn't have mattered whether I just washed it over everything that was going to be the same color. I have noticed when working with these watercolors that when I go back into the paint, it's more vibrant, and then if I've been using it a while, it's less vibrant. So I didn't want to have harsh lines within the rose, and I wanted any difference in color to be a difference between petals, so that the petals looked a little bit separate from each other. But I think it did end up happening a fair amount, so I'm glad I did that. And then for the background, I didn't really want pink because it just wasn't, quite the right attitude for what I was going for, what I was going to be doing with the Thorns later. So I went for more a watered down red, which is sort of like pink, but also not, more like a rusted red truck than a pink truck. So I went for watered down red instead of mixing the red with white, and then added just a little bit of black to kind of dull it down without making it like a different color. Because I knew I wanted to have contrast between the bright vibrancy of the roses and the background, but I also didn't want any other color that would detract from the difference between the red roses and the black thorns that I was going to put on. So I kind of talked about my bookmark behavior on my last video. So for this one, I kind of wanted to talk about my video watching behavior and what kind of videos I kind of want to make. So I found that I'm very interested in really detailed, interesting how-to sort of videos to watch once. But I found that the videos that I often end up rewatching the most and thus getting the most enjoyment out of are the sorts of videos where nothing particularly important is being discussed. Like I've talked about Louise's videos before. I really like her daily vlogs or her weekly vlogs the most, more than her topical videos. I usually watch all her topical videos once, but I don't usually rewatch them, whereas her vlogs I've watched loads and loads of times. And I continue to watch, and I think the reason that I do that and that those videos are my rewatchables is because I tend to watch the most YouTube when I'm writing. I don't actually watch it. I just listen to it, and I like to have the sound of Louise's voice or Magician Bell, Charlie Bell's voice going in the background while I'm writing. Or sometimes also, I also watch a lot of YouTube while I'm doing this painting. So I like to have something that I don't necessarily need to actually concentrate on. I like to have something that is just a pleasant sort of voice saying stuff about things, fun things, like Louise talks a lot about funny things she's got in shops, or meetings she's had with book people, or her friends, or a lot of times just something silly that's happened with her cats, or one of her times with Esther, things like that. Just talking about shopping, talking about kids, talking about babies, and nothing that's really informative for my life, but just blathering, basically, is what I tend to call it. Happy blathering. Just happily talking along about nothing in particular, but in a pleasant sort of way. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, comment below so that I feel a little less crazy. But I think that other people must, because vlog videos are so popular, and her videos, people with pleasant voices or who talk about nothing in particular, seem to be particularly popular. There must be a lot of other people who feel the same way. That's kind of made me want to make that kind of video. For my book videos, I usually talk about topics like my favorite book. The book was good because it was feminist, and this is what feminism looks like represented in literature in this way, and like topics like that are like detailed and important and deep, and I love to talk about that kind of thing. And I love videos about that kind of thing. Like, there's somebody who I'll link below who's kind of a booktuber, author-tuber type person who does topical videos on literature and stuff like that, who is just really smart and goes into things really deeply and discusses things that I really like to know about and really like to discuss and listen to videos about. But I don't usually rewatch his stuff. Like I was saying, I always watch every video they put out, but I don't usually rewatch them a bunch of times. Like, I don't usually listen to them while I'm drawing or painting or writing, because I would have to focus on what he's saying. It's not that his voice isn't pleasant, but he's like talking about something that I can't just jump in with half my mind and listen to for 5 seconds and it'll make sense. Like, if Louise is talking about her cat, she's not going to talk about it very long. So if I'm tuned out and then tune in when she happens to be talking about her cat for 5 seconds, I can tune back out again and I'm not confused and I know what's going on. I guess that might be part of it. And I'll link this guy I'm talking about below, because I can't think of his name right now. But I'll link him below. So I really want to make those kind of videos, so I think I'll continue doing so for my book videos. But for my drawing videos, I kind of want to just chat so that I have something that I and other people can just watch when they don't want to concentrate on anything. Yeah, so that took a little longer to chat about than I thought. I've come to the end of my painting. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more of them, you can subscribe and comment down below what kind of YouTube videos you tend to watch just once and what kinds you tend to rewatch. And I'll see you with the next video. Bye!